Oh.
I just got back from the bathhouse.
It was sudden.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Normal World. I am Dave Landau.
I am Quarterback Garrett, and with us, as always, is the great Angela.
Thank you. Please don't. No.
I wasn't going to, but I guess I will.
Yay, girl power.
Yes.
All right.
Hey, like and subscribe. Do that stuff that you're supposed to do on channels that you like. And if you like this channel, then do that. Tongue punch it.
Look at that. There you go.
There you go. And the bell. Don't forget the bell.
Punch that little bell.
Yeah, leave a comment that you love it.
Yeah. We got so many yesterday.
But I love it.
Dave, if people wanted to see you in real life, where would they go?
Well, they can see me this weekend, even tonight somehow mysteriously, at the Comedy Cave in Calgary, Alberta. And then you can catch me May 16th in Romeo, Michigan, May 18th in Cleveland, and then at the end of the month in Belleville, Michigan, at the Diamondback.
Very nice. Very nice.
Diamonds.
And you can find me on my channel,
It's
Quarterback
on the
Garrett.
back.
Diamonds on the back.
Yes, the lower back.
Wow. Like a tramp stamp.
Yes.
It's lower down there.
Yeah, it's a very,
I don't know if you want.
bling. I don't know if you'd want anything.
You wouldn't
back there.
want.
I would
like,
get one back
texture like diamonds on there.
there.
I was thinking like a bedazzled, like you're bedazzling the back of your back, like
I
your
think
lower
that'd
back.
be cool.
We had a friend who got a tramp stamp, not realizing that he was getting a tramp stamp that said "End Racism." He was white. And the black people laughing at him was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. It was
The tattoo parlor.
No, it was in my buddy's back deck, so it was like a mixed party, and the four black dudes who were especially thuggish were dying laughing.
I mean, that is funny.
They're like, how you gonna end racism? You gonna come on that thing? He had it removed.
Yeah. Did he think it was like a real? He didn't get it for a joke.
No, he was dead serious. He thought that it was like a good place to get a tattoo to end it.
That's a no-go zone for tattoos. You
No,
just can't get them
it was
there.
like 01.
I mean, there's no other reason to get a tattoo there other than other people looking at it.
Well, people can.
You can't see it yourself. You can't even be like, oh, look.
You can't be like, hey guys, just so if you thought I was racist, back here.
Wow. What a tattoo.
I'm dead serious.
That is sad.
Sorry, Ryan. Where can we find you?
I said it on my channel. Go subscribe. Quarterback Garrett. Stream every Sunday.
Oh, you did say it?
Yeah. Angela?
Sorry.
Oh, Angela Does Horror on YouTube and Normal Angela on Instagram.
Yeah,
Check it out.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to welcome to the show. You should check out her book, Occult Feminism, The Secret History of Women's Liberation. Please welcome Rachel Wilson.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome.
Now, any relation to Brian Wilson of the Beach Boy fame?
No. I married
Charlie Wilson?
Andrew Wilson's the only
Oh.
famous Wilson I can claim. That's my husband, so.
Yes, okay.
What was it like to be stranded on the island with Tom Hanks? Was it
Epstein Island?
No.
'Cause he was there, they say.
That's what I hear. I guess someday maybe we'll find out if Pam Bondi ever gets around to it.
Yeah. Well, she's got a lot to do.
We have no
She's a
plans.
busy lady.
Yeah. I would like to see
What a
that.
fumble. Anyways, thanks
Tom
for being on the
Hanks
show.
has gotten weird. I don't know what it is, and I like Tom.
Have you seen Tom Hanks lately? He's got the Ozempic body. He looks like a
does.
skeleton a little bit.
It's not good.
It's not good.
My Ozempic has worked perfectly. I was 400 pounds 2 weeks ago.
Yikes.
Lickety split. Lickety
No,
split.
my bones very frail. They make graham cracker sounds when I walk. But I want to get to know you. You're from Michigan,
Yes.
which I think is great.
It's pretty okay.
It's pretty decent. It's as
what I
average
hear.
as you can get. Angela just visited Michigan for the
I
first
did.
time.
First time.
She said she felt very pretty.
You know what? You're like a Michigan 9.
Thank you.
I bet.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like a Michigan 5, so
Yeah, I am
right
the
at
same.
home.
I like fives. Fives are good.
Well, we were at a carnival.
I said-
She was the 12.
We were at a carnival.
I got called hot a bunch, and I was like,
Yeah.
what?
We both got called hot, and we were both like, all right.
The hunks have come in.
Thank you, carnival.
Well, there's a lot of like creative people, a lot of like comedians and musicians and writers that come from Michigan. I think it's because the weather's so terrible, like 9 months out of the year, you've got to do something.
Yeah, you do. You have to channel the depression.
It's true. You have to make it work
you have
for
to
you.
point it somewhere. Otherwise, you just, you end up like me. Just depressed all the time.
Just wanting to cut yourself just so you can see a little color after 9 months of clouds.
You get it.
That is what I imagine, just like a grayscale environment when you talk about
It
Detroit.
is.
It is.
It's pretty much,
Michigan.
yeah.
Yeah.
You at least saw a helicopter ride.
Wait, you were on a helicopter?
I didn't take the helicopter ride. They had a small helicopter
God.
Shouldn't have had it.
giving rides at a carnival. And I was like,
Fruit that, no.
absolutely not.
No. It's like a hot air balloon ride. I'd be like, why?
Yeah, no way. My wife wanted to do that for the longest time.
A hot air balloon ride? Yeah. What's the point?
That's kind of
You go up and you come down and you might fall out while you're up.
Not
I don't want
sitting
to do
in
that.
a basket with a guy whose only knowledge is hot air balloons.
A 200-year-old technology? No, thank you.
So my friend went on a hot air balloon ride in Mexico, and there was like a big hole
Insane.
in the thing, and he kept asking the guy like, "Hey, what's up with that?" There's like
He's
a
like,
hole in
"He's
it,
a-
and the
he's
guy
a
was like,
fine.
"No, it's fine, it's
He's a
fine." He
fine.
didn't speak English, but he was like, "No, he's okay, he's
Yes,
okay."
okay.
So it's a good.
And then a week later, an article came out where that specific place he was at, the hot air balloon fucking exploded, and somebody died because the balloon had a hole in it.
See?
Yep. You don't want to see. I'm
not doing any of those
in a
things.
basket.
No.
Have you ever been on a hot air balloon?
I have.
What did you think?
Well, I lived in Reno, and they have like a world famous hot air balloon
They
thing
do
there.
the whole it's a whole festival.
Yeah. I'm terrified of heights. I did not want to do it. I was coerced. I did it against my will. I survived. It was okay. But you know what? It wasn't worth it. It wasn't like, wow, I'm so glad I did that. Because you're right. You just like go up and then you just
And then you come
back
down.
down.
Was the guy dressed like a dandy? Like who did it? Like did he have a top hat and was like this
No,
is,
he was like
suspenders?
a hippie.
and he's singing about the oh
that's
It's like
worse.
a pot smoking hippie.
That's
kind of guy.
worse.
that's what sucks is because that's who it would be.
Yeah.
And you're like this guy who loves hacky sack and hot air balloons.
Yes.
If he was dressed like a dandy, had the little straw cap and was like striped shirt and some suspenders, I think he's taking his job really seriously, and he would have every check. He'd have a checklist and he'd do all the checks. That guy, I don't trust that guy at all.
It'd be more fun too if he was like, "Hello, come and take a ride
he's
on
got
the
a
hot
big-
air balloon, man." You know, talking with the accent,
Right. Yes.
Yesterday we were talking
Atlantic
about
accent.
we were
Hey
talking
there,
about,
transatlantic, yeah.
and he has a big mustache, a little twirly. In that situation, I'd trust him more the bigger the mustache is.
Well, sure. It's like the guy who has the horse in Central Park. Sure, you know, he beats it and the horse doesn't want to be there, but he makes it seem like it's charming.
Like it's his best friend.
Yeah. We
romantic.
go way back to where I tied a carriage to it.
Yeah.
And then I charge people for rides around a filthy park.
I hate it when they make horses work.
I know, it's not fair.
That's not fair.
No.
Horses
They're
want it. They
they're
like
he
to do
likes
it.
it.
They don't
he was
like to
bred
do
for
it.
this.
Horses
he
love
likes
to
it.
do it.
They don't like to do it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on, he
What
loves
else are they going to do? Run out in the field?
Yeah, be free.
Nah,
Wild-
get in the stirrups.
wild horses.
Wow.
You need to listen to some Stones.
Put a saddle on that freaking horse.
I think it's the Stones.
Wild horses?
Yeah.
I'm not sure on that.
Would drag me
Pretty sure
away.
it is. It's just 1,000 shitty covers.
Yes, that have done it. Yeah.
yes.
There's a lot of horse
The
songs.
origin, Patient Zero.
Willie Nelson
Wild
has
horse.
a few good ones.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your book.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Okay, that's how I get into stuff. Now,
I like it.
Segue.
the
Why they pay you the
secretary-
big bucks.
That's correct.
Oh, yeah.
And they are not.
$24.
It is shockingly a bad deal. No, it's pretty good. I do okay.
Yeah.
I can't hang on to money.
Yeah, just
I'm just a real scumbag. I just don't know,
donuts. It's all donuts.
I love donuts. Occult Feminism,
Yes.
the secret history of women's liberation. I'll ask, what got you into this? What got you into interest in women?
Well, I had a crazy Marxist feminist mother growing up. And
That'll
then
do it. Yeah.
And then I had a Rush Limbaugh dad.
Really?
Wow.
Shockingly, they divorced. Who could have seen it coming, right?
That's crazy.
Isn't that weird?
It totally makes sense for Michigan, though,
Yeah.
how they would have met, because you do get the die hard on both sides.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I grew up with these two like opposing worldviews. And then I was like this gifted kid, and I was always put in advanced classes and expected to go to college and have some kind of
Me
really
too.
important career. And I hated school because I figured out in kindergarten that it was not about being smart, and it was not where you go to become smart. It's where you go to learn how to obey rules and sit still and, check all the
Agree more.
boxes.
Right.
So the thought of college was like, I just couldn't do it. I had a scholarship and I didn't take it. And
Really?
everybody lost their mind. and I just wanted to like be in the real world and work and do something besides school, at least for a while.
What school did you turn down?
Well, it was actually a full ride art scholarship, which is one of the reasons I turned it down, because I was like, what am I going to do with a fine arts scholarship?
I get that.
So,
Painting?
huh?
Painting? Sculpting?
Yeah, painting. Well, like painting, drawing,
Okay.
just fine arts.
Life
Yeah.
drawing.
Good for
I
you,
was just
though.
like,
That's an incredible talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was good at art and music and science and a bunch of other fun, boring stuff. But I had a baby when I was 20, which everybody, again, lost their minds and thought was like the end of my life. It's all going to be over. And I thought it was awesome. I loved it. I loved being a mom. I loved having a little adorable baby to raise. And like 4 weeks after I had her, it was like, well, you got to go back to work now.
Right.
Even if your husband makes money and you don't have to, you have to go back to work. And this is like all the Christian conservative women even around me telling me this. And I was like, why? This seems like a really inefficient, totally retarded system.
Sure.
I'm going to go like, at the time I'm a hairdresser, right? And I'm supposed to give a crap about cutting people's hair and like pay half of what I make to some random lady to like do what I want to do, which is raise my own child. And I was like, who came up with this?
Yeah.
So I just noticed like everybody was programmed with, this is how we do it now. This is the way things are. And you'll get used to it. And the baby will get used to it. And I was like, I don't want to get used to it. It seems stupid. So that was like the beginning of me going like, how did we have this system? How do we have this now? Because my grandma didn't do it like that.
Right.
No.
Well, it's so many people, yeah.
Yeah, like all of human history up until, 40 years ago, we didn't do it this way. So I just thought it was strange. It was another one of those things where the whole world's telling me, this is how it should be. And I'm going, it seems really dumb. I don't know, just me, but it seems dumb. So I started kind of slowly reading feminist literature. I know. I must have like a masochistic side or something.
But you got to know. You got to learn it.
Yeah, because I was like, well, what was their reasoning? Like, let's find out like what's going on with this. And aside from it being terribly boring and a really awful read, 99% of these feminist writers, going back to even like the 1700s, I'm reading like Mary Wollstonecraft. And I just started to find out that like the gender studies version of feminism that we've all been told, like if you ask the typical person, they'll say, oh yeah, well, there was an abusive patriarchy and the women couldn't do anything. And you'll hear crazy stuff like, oh, women couldn't work and they couldn't go to school and they were just chained to a stove, being forced to give birth repeatedly until they died either in childbirth or from hearth death.
That was at my camp I made.
A hardcore camp.
We should
Landau
maybe
camp.
bring it back.
We called it the Ranch Davidians. Sorry,
It's
go on.
probably better than, what we're dealing with now. So maybe bring it back. I don't
Probably
know.
true, actually.
Try.
I could run a camp.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, buddy.
We got to get these birth rates up,
Yeah.
ladies.
I will take on the burden of making love to all your wives. Why? Because I talk to God. I'm the one who
He
can
told
hear
me.
Yeah.
Why is it always that?
Anyway, sorry. I was way off track.
So from reading all this god-awful, boring historical literature, I found out that like their primary complaints, like Susan B. Anthony, for example, in her History of Women's Suffrage was like, our biggest obstacle was not the men. The men were like, if you want to vote or whatever, like, okay. The women did not want it. The women were staunchly against it. It was like they held a couple referendums in a few states before the passage of the 19th Amendment and let women vote on whether they wanted to vote. Most of them didn't even show up, but the ones who did, only 4% voted to put the 19th like on the ballot, to even have women's suffrage as an option.
Okay.
So the National Women's Suffrage Association shut down women's voting on women's voting.
You're not allowed.
They were like, no, you don't understand what you're doing. You really don't know what you want. Let us handle it. And I was like,
it has been a mess ever since.
it really has. But I was just like, okay, well, I was always told that like, we were so abused and our lives were so terrible that one day we all went, oh no, we should fight for rights and like march with signs until, we have rights and then things will be better. So if it wasn't the women demanding it, who was demanding it, right? And then I started, researching the funding and who pushed it and those sort of things. It was a giant rabbit hole. And I was like, this is really fucked up, because I'm told, this is for me, right? I'm told your grandmothers would have, fought and died for your right to go and work a cubicle job. So you get your ass in that cubicle and you send that baby to daycare and you divorce your husband and take half his stuff because that's what your great grandmothers fought for. And I just thought, is this another instance of me being gaslit and lied to? And that's why this never made sense. So I kind of became like an autistic researcher of women's history over the years, largely to justify like my own life decisions to everyone around me. Everybody telling me I needed to be working, I was going to regret it, I need to have my own money, or I'm going to be abused, my husband's going to leave me for someone younger. They fear-mongered me about everything you could think of for not having a career and being like a strong, independent boss woman. And I've gotten I've been called a baby factory because I ended up having 5 kids.
Yeah.
Hey, you got one on me.
Yeah? You got 4? Awesome. Good for you. Doing the Lord's work over there. But yeah, it was just like I got so tired of defending my choices as not the weird thing, right?
Yeah.
So
traditionally, that was kind of how everybody did it, and they really enjoyed that. Yeah, it is interesting because like when you think about it, they got 50% of the working force not in the workforce. So they're like, hey, why don't you get in here and work in this factory?
Well, that's the thing. So
we tax you too.
Yeah, we could have your money as well.
Turns out you're onto something, and it's not a coincidence that women's suffrage, compulsory education in public schools, the passage of the Federal Reserve Act, and the income tax.
I would have never guessed that.
That's 1912?
All of them were within a few years.
Yeah.
Right around, 1918, 1920.
Yeah.
Okay.
All kind of in the same time frame with the same like big progressive industrialist funding the whole thing and pushing the whole thing through.
Well, at the same time, they're sending all the males over to die in World War One.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, we need somebody in our factories and doing all these things that they were doing. Let's get women in there.
Yep.
They
Interesting.
needed Madonna to play baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there was a vested interest in pushing women into the workforce, getting them out of the home, putting kids in compulsory public education so that they can be taught the worldview that the state wants. The school system is based on like the Prussian model, which was for making good factory workers and good soldiers.
Yep.
So it turns out in kindergarten I was onto something that like, hey, this isn't really to make me the smartest, most critical thinker. This is more to teach me to follow the directions and respond to the bell. When the bell goes off, I have to do this,
Right.
Yeah, I felt that in middle school. I was that's when I guess I started misbehaving or whatever, but it's because anytime I did something that was more independent or I wrote an opinion instead of what the answer was about why I had this opinion, because I had learned something different in history, and then you're getting an F because it's not just by the book.
Right.
All that stuff would really bother me because I didn't understand why it was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. It probably wasn't wrong, but it wasn't like you're taught the narrative.
Correct.
It has to fit with the narrative. And I got the same thing. It was like I was always in trouble, never for actually doing anything wrong, but for like questioning what a teacher said or correcting a teacher on something when they were wrong. Basically being a smart ass and a pain to the teacher or whatever. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. And it turns out there was way more to it than I ever thought. And the reason for the title is 2 reasons. One is the meaning of the word occult just means hidden. So there's a whole hidden history to women's liberation that nobody knows about. They don't know that there was way higher participation in anti-suffrage groups among women than pro-suffrage groups. And that
occult is a good word. You're writing a book. I like it.
It's a good. But also, I found as I was profiling all these early feminists that most of them, not a couple, but most of them dabbled in occult practices, whether it's like witchcraft,
seances and stuff.
Yep,
They'd have a lot of
spiritualism.
those.
There's an old saying that there was never a suffragette that didn't sit around the seance table, and I thought.
That's interesting.
They never told me about that in history class. That's kind of weird.
Right.
And it was like there was a lot of anti-Christian sentiment within the suffrage movement. They had like radical lesbian separatist female pastors in like 1895 helping to rewrite the Bible.
I thought you were going to say today.
We have them now too, but
like a big circle.
People get the impression that this is like really, really new. And it turns out that in 1895, Elizabeth Cady Stanton and all of her like occultist friends were writing the Woman's Bible, which is like they rewrote it from a feminist perspective And basically, right in the foreword, she says, I don't believe anyone ever, I don't believe God exists. I don't think the Bible is real. But since it's so pervasive and it's the most popular book in the world, we're just going to rewrite it and make it into feminist propaganda. And you can still buy it on Amazon to this day.
It's called The Woman's Bible?
The Woman's Bible.
What is the perspective then? Is the whole angle of it, is it fake or is it sort of...
The whole angle is that men made it up.
Is Mary Magdalene getting drilled?
Yeah, what's up with that?
No, that was later. That was the female professor from Harvard that scammed everybody with her book in the 90s. Yeah.
Was that the Book of Thomas or whatever?
Gospel of Thomas.
Gospel
yeah.
of Thomas, yeah. That's what I thought.
What is this?
Yeah, she turned out to be a fraud.
That God has tits and a dick.
What?
It was
I'm not kidding. It's
Harvard professor, I think it was Harvard Divinity School she was part of, and she claimed to have discovered a lost Gnostic gospel that said Mary Magdalene. This is where everybody gets this Mary Magdalene was a prostitute thing.
Right.
There was actually a pope a long time ago who floated the idea, but she kind of repopularized it. And there was all kinds of heretical stuff in the book, right? That, the Virgin Mary was not, and all these kinds of things. And it turned out like
the Joseph Smith of at college. I got you. Go on.
So it turned out that there was no Gospel of Thomas. It was totally fraudulent. She made it up. And, academics at Harvard, had a hearing about this and asked her, why would you do this? This is like academic fraud. And she was like, well, I just feel like men made up the Bible anyway. So why can't I just make up a Gnostic gospel if I want to? And that's what the woman's Bible theory was. It was that Christianity was invented by the evil patriarchy to control women and force them to be, grape slaves. I don't know what words I can say in here, but...
Oh, you can say rape.
Okay, rape slaves and, control
His nickname is Rape Slave.
Yes, that's true.
Quarter.
That's why there's 4 kids.
quarter
We have
black
4
rape
kids.
slave. Yeah, so I mean, that's kind of what
They
it
just
was.
call me Sir Rapes a lot.
Of the branch.
It's a big chain.
You can say whatever you want. Sorry, go on. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah,
I just try to add levity every now and then by just saying the most
That's
offensive
good.
thing possible.
Well, this is it's kind of depressing stuff when people find out. They read my book and they'll write me an email and be like, this is horrible. What do I do now?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's...
I like that, though. I think that there is so much in history that you're just taught to believe this was exactly how it was supposed to be, and this is what happened. And we know for sure that we've been lied to about everything at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't we be lied to all through history?
Well, I've had people say that. They're like, oh, I'm supposed to believe that some random lady from the rural Midwest just figured all this out. And I'm like, no, I have dozens of citations in the book where every source I have is the feminist activists themselves telling you what they believe. It's not my opinion. It's not my interpretation. It's their actual words that they wrote, and they're very proud of it. They didn't hide it. Lucifer was actually a symbol of women's liberation in the 1800s. They openly said Lucifer was the good guy. He was trying to enlighten us and make us free and liberated, and God's actually the bad. And again, Gnostic, occulty.
I could see how they could try and turn all that because Eve was the one that got listened to him and then got the fruit. Yeah.
Yeah, and even now there's tons of feminists that want to revive Lilith. If you go to Witch Talk, the hashtag Witch Talk on
Cringe.
TikTok, they all are huge fans of the demon goddess Lilith or
Lilith Fair?
Yep,
It's
Lilith
basically,
Fair in
yeah,
the
that's
90s was So it's been around forever, and it's just and it's way longer than you think. Way before women's suffrage, there was this stuff going on. So the book actually starts in ancient times and works its way through. But yeah, it's nutty stuff. And then the CIA pushed it too, which was totally insane. So there's a whole chapter on
they're the
CIA fuckery in pushing feminism.
There's that, and
they're involved with so much stuff.
So much.
I mean, when you
Culture
really look
creation,
at when you even look at the music movement of the 1960s and how many bands were
The Laurel
Where they
Canyon
came
scene.
from.
Laurel Canyon, yes, with Jim Morrison, and you have it's incredible how many people
connected
It was
to
the same stuff. The Congress for Cultural Freedom, a big program, Cold War CIA program, and they recruited Gloria Steinem out of Smith College and
right.
Hundreds of magazines around the world that they had control of and really pushed this narrative. So a lot of what people parrot and repeat, when you hear them say things like, women's right to work, and then I go, okay, well, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and they go, oh, must be nice to be so privileged. I'm like, wait a minute, I thought that this was a good thing and that I'm liberated if I'm work. Now you're saying I'm privileged if I stay home. It can't be both. Yeah. It's like Schrodinger's feminist, right? So,
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what is a privilege, though? taking lean.
That's right.
I don't know if you knew that.
Tell me more.
I
I'm
will.
intrigued.
I know you looked interested, and I wanted to help you out there. You're going to think I'm describing weight loss injections, but I'm not. Go ahead. Why don't you point that to QB? Look at that.
Right here.
These remarkable weight loss testimonials came from a doctor-formulated weight loss supplement called Lean. Go ahead. What did Patty S. say?
I finally found a weight loss product that works. I wanted to lose 20 pounds, and Lean really curbs my appetite.
And Lori M. wrote, I've struggled to get weight off, and Lean has been a lifesaver. She's got a deep voice.
Oh, that's true, yeah. And Kelly F. said, amazing. I immediately noticed an energy boost and a healthy weight loss in weight. That's what it says. That's what it says.
That's what it says.
I would promote this product to anyone.
And actually, my friend hit me up today saying he's been using Lean since we've been sponsoring, and he says he is down 10 pounds. So that's
And your husband's been
My
using
husband,
it?
yeah.
I like the supplements. The other thing they have is like you put in some water or whatever your beverage is. Drop some of that in there for some good vitamins. I like it. I like the taste.
I say you should do it. Lean was created by a doctor and university researcher to target goals of GLP-1s, but without the injections. I don't know what I just said.
Because that's scary.
All I know is it makes you lose
Needles?
weight.
Ugh.
Yeah. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to lower blood sugar, radically reduce appetite, and burn fat by converting it into energy. How can they go ahead and get a deal on Lean, Angela?
Well, if you're going to go to takelean.com, you're going to use code NORMAL20 at checkout. And yeah, that's how you
That's
do it.
20% off? 20%
Yeah,
off?
20% off. Sorry, that's what I was trying to say.
Wow. Scan that code right there on the screen.
Get you
Normal 20.
some. Just like some men to tell us how to lose weight.
Yep.
Yeah. Putting on a few
We
pounds.
do.
I didn't want to say anything.
Patriarchy wins
Yeah,
again.
that's what we do. We just sprinkle it in your food.
Is that,
She doesn't know.
is that why I've been all fucked up?
Fucked up? Or do you mean losing weight?
You mean good looking? Yeah, it's why you've been good looking because we've been
Prettier.
drugging you.
Thanks.
I don't know if they're okay with this, implying that we poisoned Angela.
I'll take that
We're
out.
past the commercial.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I was
wouldn't be
serious. My
poisoning
friend
because
lost
it's
10
supplement.
pounds with it. He's really happy.
And my husband's lost a couple pounds too.
I want to take Lean home. I want to steal this one because I don't have this. I have the supplements, but I don't have this.
Take it.
I'm gonna steal it.
Sipping on some scissor.
Purple drank.
All right. Well, not. Someone paid for this. So
It's cotton.
I want to get your take on this then.
Okay.
You might be familiar with Smokey Robinson. Mm-hmm. Like Tears of a Clown.
Yeah.
All right. This is Tears of a Cleaning Lady. 85-year-old Motown legend Smokey Robinson is facing serious legal allegations following a lawsuit filed on May 6th, 2025, I believe that was yesterday, by 4 former housekeepers. The lawsuit submitted in Los Angeles Superior Court accuses Robinson of multiple counts of sexual assault, including rape, sexual battery, false imprisonment, gender violence. Who is this guy? Me?
What?
His wife, Frances Robinson, is also named in the suit, facing accusations of fostering a hostile work environment and failing to prevent the alleged misconduct. The plaintiffs identified, real quick, as Jane Doe 1 through 4, alleged that the assaults occurred between 2006 and 2024 at Robinson's residence in Chatsworth, California, Las Vegas, Nevada, and Bell Canyon, California. They described a pattern of repeated assaults, including forced oral sex and vaginal penetration without consent. One plaintiff claims to 23 instances of assault, while others report over 20. It's still a lot.
My goodness.
However, they did say the benefits package of working for him was incredible.
Wow.
Now,
had to be.
Out there. It's not.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
They stick around, really.
First question is, why a lawsuit and why not go to the police when this was happening? Why let it go on for 20 years and then That's always my question. If you're truly being raped and sexually assaulted, why don't you go to the police?
There was an answer in the article.
Okay.
Did she?
I'll
Yeah.
read. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm going to answer.
It's got to be scary, though. You're going up against this
Smokey.
guy, or Smokey.
Yeah, you can't.
Might have his tentacles into all of the police.
Oh yeah, you can't take down a legend.
Yeah, and he starts singing.
I mean, he's got casinos to have sell out.
Yeah.
So the woman reportedly refrained from reporting the incident due to fear of retaliation, public shame, and potential impact on their immigration status. Oh, that's right. Also, the fact that they come from is from where they come from. This is just called courting.
They did call for a criminal investigation too into the matter, but they are requesting 50 million.
Should we guess where they're from?
I think we know.
Okay.
They are. They are seeking at least 50 million in damages and have called for a criminal investigation, like you said.
He doesn't have that.
While Robinson has yet to respond to the allegations, he's in show business, therefore probably a monster.
Yeah.
He's 84, did you say?
85.
85, and this was like 2 years ago?
I guess it
Up until last year.
Wow.
Up until last year.
2006 to 2024.
He just liked hiring illegals as maids, which is weird. No one's ever done that. But then assaulting them, allegedly.
Maybe he's taking some of those supplements for him to still be that interested.
You said you wouldn't.
You can't say that. You can't say that.
Let's see that picture again.
Pop it up there.
Oh yeah, the melting wax
look like?
figure.
Oh goodness.
If you take a good look at his face, you can see his smile's out of place.
He looks like he's had some.
Deep cut.
He looks like he had work
Smoking.
done.
Oh, a little
You know what
bit.
I mean?
I'm thinking.
Like he got Botox, but then certain things started just dropping.
But it didn't take.
Like, I would like to look like a Chinaman.
Yeah, they're like, listen,
You said Smokey, you can't say that.
about your face, we goofed.
Are bad, but you can't tell because you can't open your eyes.
Maybe he can sue the plastic surgeons and then
Get the money.
pay for the maid
Bounce
thing
it
with
out.
that. I don't know.
It's
Or he could talk to the plastic surgeons, get them to work on the maids, and then maybe everybody will be happy.
That could also not be Smokey Robinson.
That's true.
Like, they could just send out that guy and be like, it looks like Smokey Robinson got work done.
He looks like the Madame Tussauds wax version of
Yes,
himself.
where, like, they don't do a good job, and then people still take photos with it. Like, I know that's not Nicolas Cage. He's not made of wax.
Put him under the hot lights, it starts melting a little bit.
Well, I hope that didn't happen to those ladies, but I suppose I always wait whenever these kind of cases come out. I always wait and see what the actual evidence is because
I just think there's so much assault now
There's a lot.
that it's like, is it really all there? Or is it...
Sometimes it's not, but sometimes it is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's what's hard to tell.
It's hard, yeah.
It's hard to tell.
I'm
Muddy
not here
waters.
for a pimp.
Muddy water.
You know what I mean?
So sad.
Because the girl want to be with you.
And his wife's like involved in it? Like,
how is
it's
the
like-
wife involved? How is she fostering the?
unless she was
Well,
like,
wasn't
I can't imagine. How old is his
wasn't
wife?
Cosby's wife also kind of
Implicit in
on
it?
it?
I just think she knew he was an adulterer. I don't
Right,
think,
so
I
she
don't
kind of
think
let it happen.
Carmela knew he was a
Okay.
rape. But maybe. I mean, I don't
Maybe.
know.
yeah, who knows?
But I mean, she stayed with him. But what's
I
she
don't like
gonna
it.
do? It's
Maybe she's
Carmela
also-
Cosby.
Yeah, that's
She's gonna leave him
Yeah.
for who?
Nobody. You're 85.
You live a nice life alone in a big house.
Yeah, that's true. You could just take half his or most of his money.
Yeah.
The other half that
It's
didn't.
isn't it kind of weird too? Because it's like a lot of the really rich, famous dudes, women just burn right through it. Like they'll be married just long enough to get half, and then they're out of there.
Yes.
And I'm like, it's like the old guard wives of these people just be hanging around. You know, they're just sticking it out, and it's like, I don't know.
The dudes get something out of it, I think.
Well, I think if you're somebody like Smokey, yeah, you're right. But I think if you're somebody like Smokey, like I would imagine maybe you have a deal with your wife, like some basketball players do, where it's like, look, you can have one a year, and of course, they all violate that. Of
course, yeah.
But they're like, no, that was the one.
But he's like, hey, baby, Smokey, come on, you know.
So she's kind of like, I can let you get around. But I mean, there's a difference between like having sex with a groupie and chaining a maid to a radiator.
Right, yeah. So I guess we'll figure that out in the court system.
Yes.
Well,
Hope justice is served.
I hope he's not guilty because I've always enjoyed Smokey's music.
There's
Yep.
a lot of like Sam Cooke. I've also heard he's done some very horrible things. And I
He
love
did, but
Sam
in
Cooke.
fairness, he did get shot.
By a
So
hotel
justice?
clerk.
Wait, over what?
Over leaving a white woman's room too fast.
Well, there was a lady running around, and she was saying that someone was chasing her, and then
He
Sam
was
Cooke came in
leaving.
there.
He
He was
was like-
leaving, and he came in, and she shot him in the chest. And his last words were, "Lady, you just shot me," and he died.
I was born
Sam
in a real.
Yeah.
Sam Cooke, one of the
passed away.
greatest voices
Yes.
So good, dude.
of all time.
So good.
in a little tin. Yeah.
Yep.
So good.
I love him.
I don't know much about.
And I refuse to believe any of that blasphemy
Any
about
of the
him,
other
even
stuff?
though I know it probably was true.
He died so young, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like 30.
Yeah, he was pretty
That's
young.
awful.
He was just
Yeah.
on his he was up and coming too.
He
He wasn't
was,
even like a big name yet.
That's why he was at a motel with a woman who would shoot you in the chest.
Messed up.
You're not in a good neighborhood when that happens. Or at least, you didn't belong there. You get what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
You know. Okay, so there's a big... Okay, this is a good title. I'm not going to read out loud. Here we go.
Yeah, read the title.
No, thank you. Oh, well, now I have to. There's a big fat black woman in Times Square. And this time she's not just getting in a fight at Chick-fil-A.
Can we see some video?
Yeah, let's get that video.
Oh, that's the airstrike.
That's
And
Oh, no.
communicate
It's close.
those inner worlds that we have,
Yeah.
and sometimes we misinterpret with one another to try and create an understanding.
Wait, is this a
and
British guy?
basically
get out of here. This is New York.
encourage empathy.
All right, they won me over.
Yeah, I'm not bad. It's all right. Lean on me
When I'm not strong.
when I
Yeah,
got a big statue.
I like this. Hey, I'm a
So-
body positivity and bronze go together. I think this is like a nice sister statue to that other big poo poo statue that they made. Y'all remember that?
No, what was the big
You don't
poo-poo?
remember that?
No.
It was like arms crossed and hugging each other, but they didn't have any heads, so it just looked like a big turd.
Yeah.
So I think these are powerful
It
representations.
looks just
of-
like a random lady at Walmart, and they just made a big old bronze statue of her, and they were like, "This is art."
Yes, if you just put Cookie Monster pajamas on that, you wouldn't know the difference.
Exactly.
Is that permanent?
The Cookie Monster pajamas, probably. There's no way that's permanent. I'm sure it's already been defaced. As one time New York columnist writes in what is hopefully a suicide note, if there was ever a reason to trek to Times Square,
Oh my god! Don't see any of the awesome like scenery of New York City or any of the historical landmarks.
so obvious when Matt writes something. All right, sorry. In yes, as in what? Sorry, I'm laughing. My tears in my eyes. As one Time Out New York columnist writes, what is hopefully a suicide note. If there was ever a reason to trek to Times Square, this is it. A massive 12-foot tall bronze sculpture.
We're gonna finish it. You have to finish it.
A young woman by figurative artist Thomas J. Price.
Figurative artist.
Yes.
Like,
Or
you
as
can call him an artist.
A very
or not.
curvy artist. Or as I like to think of it, the literal controlled demolition of the very notions of art and culture.
Yes.
The piece is part of a series called Grounded in the Stars, which confronts preconceived notions of identity and representation, as opposed to being confronted by a piss-soaked schizophrenic wielding a broken Heineken bottle, as per usual in New York City.
Yes, definitely in Times Square.
Based on like the pose of the statue, I would have thought the title would be more like, "Oh no, you didn't."
Yeah,
I mean, she's
Definitely
like,
the energy.
yeah.
Like Z snapping and like frozen in time.
that's why I don't like the hands on the hips. I feel like it's like she's complaining about something.
Oh, she is.
like,
She's complaining about
You
the
gotta get your hands out of that
state of our
snack
country.
cupboard. I'm gonna whoop you with my flip flop. But it looks like
toss that flip flop in your head.
It seems, yeah, it just seems.
Shut up.
Wouldn't you go up to it and be like, "Is this a musical artist?" And they'd be like, "What? What?"
Like, no, is this Lizzo?
It's
No.
Garrett on Tuesday's show,
Yeah.
thinking everybody.
Garrett thought
I thought it was Lizzo. The screen is far away. I can't tell. Look like a
Black
big lady.
woman over 180 pounds. You're like, it's got to be Lizzo, right?
Obviously. She's losing weight. She looks great. Good
she
job.
does. She does. She looks good now.
Yeah. Good for her.
Yeah, it's a statue.
There it is.
sure is.
You can go see it.
If there's any reason to go to Times Square,
It's this.
It's this.
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to go if you've been recently. Most of the stores are out of business from being looted.
What would that be?
I don't know.
Oh, it's weird.
Hell do I know?
One of the first times a fan interacted with me in real life was in Times Square at 3 a.m.
Really?
What was the
can't-
interaction?
I was with Brendan, and we were watching the Joker, the first Joker movie, 2019. We were in New York, and I walked out. It was 3 a.m. and we were talking about the movie, and then somebody hits me on the side of I'm already kind of like on edge. It's 3 a.m. Times
New
Square
York.
in New York.
You're looking for sex.
I'm like, where them ladies at? And I get hit on the side of the shoulder, and I look over, and it's a black dude, and he goes, "Hey, quarter black, I'm all black." Ah! I was like, oh my God. And it wasn't because he was black. It was just 3 a.m. at night.
Right.
And he was black.
Was he black? You're like, I don't know.
So I was just blacked out there. But it was cool. Cool
You
dude.
what?
That's very nice. You did what out?
What? I African Americaned out.
That's better. Some people.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
How dare you?
So your husband is
My husband is Andrew Wilson.
Andrew Wilson. And how did you meet your husband?
Oh gosh, that was like 18 years ago, and
Is he the father of the first child?
No.
Okay.
No,
I don't want to get too personal.
I am
if that's
sadly
okay.
no. Everybody's look. There's a million theories out there. According to who you ask, I've got 7 kids by 8 different guys, and they're
Good on
mixed
you.
race and everything else.
Yeah.
So the
Telling
internet
me,
has
sister.
created all kinds of lore
Lore.
when the real story is actually like really boring. It just we were really young and it didn't work out and he left. So and it's like,
I apologized for it.
well, what can you do? But
Good to see you guys reunited, though.
I know. It's been a while.
I got the best guy ever
took
now,
my
though.
kid.
So I'm lucky.
I took you. That's what this is about. That's why we had you here.
Surprise!
Remember me?
Have it.
In case you noticed, I don't look anywhere near the same.
You really don't.
Really let myself go.
No, Andrew is. Everybody's probably seen viral clips of him either from the Whatever podcast or Wes Watson screaming at him and telling him to shave his arms. I don't know if anybody saw that. That was great.
I don't.
Does he
shave
have
my
hairy arms?
either?
No, I think he was actually yelling at the guy next to him about the hairy arms or something. I don't know. He was saying his arms weren't big enough and he wasn't rich enough, and so he's a loser. And Andrew kind of humiliated him, made him look stupid, and
Good.
yeah, now he's in trouble for being an idiot.
I
So.
really hate that, rich.
You're not rich.
His motto is ripped, rich, and rare.
Wow.
You have to be a successful man, you have to be ripped, rich, and rare.
Like pink in the middle.
Yeah, like undercooked.
He might be.
Got a big fat pussy.
What about treading water, chubby, and overcooked?
Well, Andrew tried
about
tried
dead
to
My kind of guy.
tried to suggest maybe there's
really
more to
rich.
life than that. Like maybe your life should have like some meaning. I know it sounds crazy. And the guy just like lost his marbles and raged out, and it was like this big viral clip last year.
So you're
But
saying don't just make a channel of driving a Maserati you rented and filming your watch?
well, I mean, it hasn't worked out good for him. He's
Well, I'm doing life wrong.
he's in trouble now.
Andrew
Like,
Tate.
well, everything just his whole channel crashed after that. He
Oh no,
was like,
we're on your side.
Yeah,
There's no
Yeah.
Andrew Tate
We don't
fans
like
in
those
the
people.
room.
no. Well, like Andrew Tate, I don't
a
take him
well,
seriously. I think
think
he's
it's
a
a bit.
caricature.
It's a
yeah.
bit. Everybody I know who's ever interviewed him says it's a
Yeah, yeah, that's what it seems like to me. So I don't get upset about it because I'm just like he's doing his thing. I don't know, but
It's funny when you
I'm
think
upset
about it
people
that way.
like it. What?
No, yeah, it's like I think it's funny when you think about it like that. It's like a bit. He's doing a character, but then the people that take
he's
it really
definitely
serious.
funny sometimes.
For sure.
Sometimes
Yeah,
he'll
yeah.
tweet something that's hysterical, and
Like
sometimes
it's
he'll
gay to have sex with your wife.
sometimes
That's a
he'll
joke.
retweet me, and then people will get mad at me. I'm like, I don't have any control over if Andrew Tate likes my tweet. What do you want
Yeah.
me to do?
Well,
about
that's
it?
the fun thing about X is it's everybody's just mad.
Yes,
It's
It's like
just-
Mad Max in there now.
Everything is just toxic.
crazy.
It's a lot.
it's super insane.
Yeah, where I'm just like,
The
do you believe this? And then you meet people in person, and you're like, oh my god, you do.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's terrifying.
yeah, it
I was
is.
just curious how you met him. Now I understand that you scream at prostitutes.
Sometimes I do. Yes.
Okay.
So I've been on Whatever
My mother
in
was a
person.
whore.
Oh, was she?
Mm-hmm.
My condolences.
R.I.P.
I only scream at them if they scream at me first, is the long and short of it. So sometimes I've been on the show in person, and actually the screaming match I got in on the show wasn't even with a prostitute. It was with like a Pentecostal crazy lady who was like trying to speak in tongues or something, and I told her she was nuts. But
It's fair.
sometimes it'll be like
Ride the line. I respect this.
my husband calls into the show. He's a really regular guest. He's on all the time. And he'll call in from our house. He has a studio downstairs. And I'll just be upstairs washing dishes or something, just listening.
As you should.
Yeah. And one of these ladies will get upset. Like a couple weeks ago, there was one. She was 62 years old, heavy-set lady, had the aesthetic of like a Walmart greeter, you know.
Okay.
Or maybe like the lady in the trailer park on the 4th of July that wears all the patriotic stuff in the hat, and she's got the flags, and she's got
like-
a hot dog in each hand type of
Like I'd
thing.
be retired
down
if my grandson didn't rob me for drug money.
Yes.
I got you.
Exactly.
I know the body.
Yeah, that's the phenotype that we're working with.
Okay.
And she said she was not married because she has very high standards, and the guy has to make $5 million, or she's not going to consider him.
It's delusional.
Same.
Make $5 million in life altogether, or a year?
Well, she said he's got to be retired and be worth at least $5 million.
Okay.
So my husband said, "Don't you think that's kind of delusional?" Just like you said. And she was like, "You have no couth. You are rude and you are nasty and disgusting." She just started going off on him. And she said, I can't, you're just upset because you could never get a woman, you know, like me or something like that. And he was like, "Lady, I'm married and trust me, I'm not upset because you're not into me." And she's
Also,
like,
there's nothing more couth than walking around and saying how much somebody should be worth if you date them.
I know. So she asked to see me. She wanted to lay eyes upon me and see what kind of wretched creature would dare marry my husband. And since she was so mean and she was like dragging me away from what I was doing, I was like, "Listen, I'm just going to let this lady have it." So I came on and I sat down and I said, "Listen, Large Marge, can you just let me know?" And she immediately made me think of Large Marge from Pee Wee Herman. Do you guys remember that?
Well, of course I do.
Yeah.
I
So
had to show to my son when he was 5 to also scar him the way I was.
yeah, that's what
worked.
my dad did.
Yeah, I don't know. You forget it's in there, and
Pretty
then you're
scary.
like, "Oh man, I just scarred my kid."
Yeah, so I was calling her Large Marge, and she just lost it and started freaking out and screaming at me. She's calling me ugly, saying she also told me I had no couth, which is kind of true. In her
Ma'am, I
defense,
don't-
it's a little true. But it was just funny to have
Like
her.
you're right about that.
Because I just asked her, I was like, "Well, what is it, you know, that you have that you think these millionaires want? You know, what do you?" And she kept saying, "I'm established. I'm established." And I was like,
What does that mean?
"Got your own double wide in the corner lot in the park, or
I'm
what?"
bona fide.
Yeah,
I'm bona fide. I got the bona fides.
Yeah, what is established?
I don't know. She just kept
My
saying.
modular home is stuck to the concrete.
That's what I thought. Like she got a cement foundation for her double wide on the corner lot.
Yes.
So, you know, she brings a lot to the table.
Rules of the roost.
Yeah.
But it's generally just like these totally insane delusional women that, you know, it's the same thing over and over. I'm a 10. I'm not going to settle. Yes, I'm 55 and I'm 60 pounds overweight and can't string two sentences together, but I'm holding out for Mr. Right. He's out there somewhere, and don't you tell me to settle for a normal guy because I'm too good for that. And generally I just go on to like, you know, poke holes in that and explain why that's totally insane, and that they've watched way too many rom-coms and listened to too many Beyonce songs, and then they think they're a goddess. And
Yeah, it's for men too. I don't know where you get the confidence to just walk around like you're incredible.
wish I could get some of that. Like
I don't
I'll
have
whatever
any of
they're
it.
having.
I
Yeah.
barely get out of bed.
I'm good with the no confidence, I think. I think that's where you should be. You should be like right in the middle.
I have
Confident enough to not care.
I have confidence when I need it, in the sense of I can fake it.
Yeah, there you go.
When I'm at home, I'm just usually trying not to cry.
Yeah.
But I won't cry because I'm a man, and men shouldn't do that.
You
because
hold
it's
it.
Gay.
You put it down.
I'll never forget when my grandpa
Just
said
stuff it
that.
down.
It was right as he was dying, and he said, "Are you tearing up?" And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Do you suck cock?" And
No.
I was 6. And I said, "No." And he goes, "Well, you're about to learn."
Grandpa, no.
No, Gramps. Don't do that to me.
He came to the beeping.
Wait.
He sprayed my face to the flat line. Anyway, true story. Sorry, I don't know where I was going. Yeah,
Sometimes I think you African American out
me?
and just say whatever.
I do.
Yeah.
I often just will talk and then realize what I said was something that shouldn't be said by lips. I can see that being ridiculous, though.
It's very ridiculous. I've tried having like really serious debates with like feminists who have PhDs or master's degrees, and I try to have like a serious debate about like feminism and the history of it and how it's turned out, because shockingly, when you look at the statistics, it's not so good for really anyone at all. So I've tried to have the serious debates, and weirdly, like they're not much better at debating me than the prostitutes. So it's just like
Right.
their arguments are just.
Is the PhD what, a pasta heating degree?
It's usually like, in gender studies or sociology, which is
Didn't they stop doing that in colleges? Like, right.
No, they still do it. They're like
do they? Okay.
some of the biggest universities, like their gender studies departments will get like the most funding.
To just walk in and go, yep, that's a penis.
I'd like to go into one of these classes just to get understand what they're teaching in these things.
Totally nuts. Well, there's wealthy people like Abby Rockefeller, who was a lesbian separatist crazy person, who, leave their whole estate to these places. And so they'll get tens of millions.
She left the Rockefeller estate?
Well, she left what she had to a lot of feminist causes, which was a lot.
Well, I mean, he would
endowments
be a
through the Rockefeller
trillionaire by today's
Foundation.
standards. Yeah.
You could get with that lady.
The Rockefellers and then the Ford
She's established.
Foundation were the two big ones that started gender studies departments in 1970, and it's been
Really?
downhill ever since.
Part of the
yeah.
Bilderberger group.
Yeah.
The Build-A-Bears? Yeah, they're
Build-A-Bears.
too
They
big.
Put the heart
Rich.
inside and you make a wish.
Yeah, crazy rich, dude. I'm like, all you got is this bug Build-A-Bear money?
I never had one of those. when I was
I
a
mean,
kid.
the thing about it is you don't go into gender studies unless you're already sold on feminism, right? You don't go into it, open-minded, wanting to learn and get a PhD in that stuff. It's usually you're already really on board with it. As a student, you get really radicalized, and then you get a PhD or a master's in gender studies, and then you debate me, and I just ask common sense questions that you can't defend, and you look stupid, and then you get really mad.
Pretend I have smaller tits and I'm a feminist.
Okay.
What would you say if I said, I think all women should vote no matter what, and it should be enforced?
You mean it should be enforced like they have to?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd say
Real power.
of course you think that, because the progressive agenda would not have a chance in hell if it weren't for women voting. That's the whole reason. It's not because the progressive industrialists loved what they just cared about. They just really cared about you, and they wanted you to be able to participate in the democratic process. They just really felt like that would make your day. No. It's because that's how they got we wouldn't have the nanny state. We wouldn't have open borders. We wouldn't have forced vaccinations. All these
That was
things.
nuts.
All this nanny state garbage, the masks. Anybody remember masks and
It's the stupidest thing.
firing people for not masking or taking
Well,
shots?
sadly, they're still wearing them, depending on what city you're in. It's
I know.
very terrifying.
I've been traveling a bit, and there's still people wearing them all over the
No,
place.
and they're wearing like the rag one where they're specifically like, please don't keep that in your pocket and wear it on your face. It's
like
much
this one.
It's like growing stuff. It's like a petri dish. Some old lady's got or the crocheted ones.
Yeah. It's filled with holes.
It's holy. It's a holy man.
The idea
Those are the
and
people that want all the
object.
women to vote, is the people wearing crocheted masks full of holes thinking that makes sense. It's the same thing. So it's like, I'm not like the biggest fan of universal suffrage in general, but it's like a lot of people don't know men in this country and in England only got universal suffrage about a decade before women. Most men through most of history couldn't vote either. So like this idea that there was this top down, like all the men had all the power, totally wrong way to look at history. The average guy was not some empowered patriarchist who could just keep his boot on your neck all the time. Most men couldn't vote. It was only like I said, maybe a decade, sometimes less, sometimes slightly more, depending on where you were, because it wasn't all
It was
at
like
once.
wealthier
who was
men
voting?
too.
Yeah,
wasn't
who
it?
was voting?
So
then?
landowners.
Older, you had to have
Landowners,
land, and
yeah.
it varied by state, so it depended kind of where you were. Like some of the Western territories, women got voting rights before the rest of the country. Same thing in Europe. Like I think places in Italy, women couldn't vote till like the 60s. It was or maybe it was Austria. It was different parts of Europe, different times. But generally speaking, when nation states became a thing and democracies became a thing, it was only certain people who could vote. And sometimes there were women who could vote. Some female landowners over a certain age or different things in different places could vote. So this idea that it was
Sparta.
like,
Sparta, the women were like one of the more powerful groups.
oh yeah, like
They basically take all properties from their husband if the husband died, and usually it's Sparta. they're warriors, so they die. So they would be like these huge estates and these massive wealth.
Yeah.
And they would be really, really powerful.
Well, and there's some of the talking points are so silly if you think about them for 2 seconds. Like you'll hear feminists say stuff like, well, women couldn't even get a credit card until the 70s. You think that's okay? And I'm like, well, did you know that there's a reason why? Did you ever ask why? No, you didn't, because you just assumed it's the men just want to keep us down.
Well, they're just so willy-nilly with those
Just
things.
swiping away.
Right. Well, the reason was because women couldn't legally be held liable for debt. It was men's responsibility to pay for.
True?
Yes, it was
Why
men's.
did we change that?
I ask myself this every day.
Sorry, no, but I mean, you'd be like, look, it was her debt, and they're like, we'll leave.
Yeah. So I mean, women could often use their husband's credit. Like at Bloomingdale's, if you were a woman in 1910 and your husband had a line of credit at Bloomingdale's, you were an authorized user. You could go in and buy stuff. But if the bill didn't get paid, you couldn't be held liable for it. And it was the same thing with banks not extending loans or credit cards or things like that to women, because if it didn't get paid, they couldn't take her to court and hold her liable for it. They could only do that with men. So it's like, and now women have like the majority of college debt in this country, more than men do. Other silly myths that people believe that women couldn't be educated, total lie. Women have almost always been more educated than men, because
That's right.
if you,
Yeah.
like going back to when we started tracking in 1790, women had higher literacy rates and higher high school graduation rates than men. And there was a couple reasons.
And
One
women
is,
still read. I mean, that's the truth. But sorry.
Most
and
of the book
they
industry.
always did.
Yeah, most of the
always
book
did.
industry is for women.
Yeah.
A lot of books are for
Well, and women before, compulsory public schools were generally the ones educating the kids. Most of the tutors were female, not all, but a lot of them were. And the school marms and the ladies running orphanages were all women. So they generally had higher rates of literacy and higher graduation rates. Whereas boys, it was like, you're 14, you got a strong back, off to the coal mines with you, out to the cornfields, or you're going to die in a war that you don't care about. So just this idea, what people do is they look at history and they look at it with their 2025 eyes and they evaluate it that way, which is actually like a logical fallacy. It doesn't make sense to do that. So if you look at history, I would argue, and I have, that men were actually far more oppressed than women historically, and that we've always been privileged, and that when there was patriarchy, we were actually the primary benefactors of it, not the men.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I don't hold. Bitches don't hold the door for me.
It's true.
I think there's
You
a lot.
make
There's a
me.
lot of ways.
Well, I make you, yes, but I have to scream, and we're in the middle of a parking lot. I'm like, just open the door.
Let me out.
Why don't you just do it? But there's a lot of ways where it's like, like women were held down in certain times
Sure.
in history, and men were also held down in certain times in history. Yeah, it's like that 2020. You're looking back and you're
so
like,
you gotta look at the full picture. Like we now have genetic studies that show that historically, 80% of women who've ever lived have been able to pass on their genes, have children. Only 40% of men who've ever lived have had the privilege of reproducing, and it's because they usually, first of all, you couldn't always get a wife. If you couldn't afford to support a family, you didn't get a wife. If you died in the war, or men have always had the dangerous, dirty, and difficult jobs, and they have much higher rates of dying on the job than women have ever had. So a lot of them just didn't even make it to the age where they could reproduce. That's a massive advantage. All you have to do as a woman is simply drop eggs and someone's going to inseminate you. And that's all you've got to do. It's not like that for men. They got to prove that they can,
be worth something,
worth reproducing with and things like that. So it's like,
That's how it's
you
meant
feel
to
like,
be.
yeah,
That's how it's meant to be. That women should be the ones that choose the. I'm passing on the lineage, so who's the best candidate, and it should be that way.
right.
That's how it's supposed to work.
Well, that's the reason why the sisterhood, how women will always back each other up no matter what.
yes.
The sisterhood used to be there kind of to hey, ladies, if we don't all kind of remain chaste, we're not going to get a good deal with this marriage stuff. So Susie, if you're out there slutting around, you're ruining it for the rest of us, because if the men can just line up behind you and get the milk for free,
The
they're
shame.
not going to buy the cow, right?
Right.
That's why we used to shame that sort of stuff. But now with feminism and the sexual revolution, it's flipped on its head. And now it's like, if you don't do the cock carousel in college, your friends will shame you. because they're like,
Telling me.
oh, you're not going to just be out there being some little, Virgin Sally trying to, are you a pick me? You want the men to pick you? Is that what it is? So now it's like you get shamed the other direction. And it's like, well, if we're supposed to be like trying to select the best dudes to reproduce, then why are you letting gangbangers and SoundCloud rappers just hit it? Like that's a terrible idea.
Though.
Yeah, it's such a, so that's what, it's kind of why everything's all fucked up.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the program today. We're going to get into an end of the world. It's our pleasure. You can check out Rachel's book, Occult Feminism, The Secret History of Woman's Liberation. Where can you get it?
You can get it on Amazon.
Okay. Go to Amazon.
And while you're there,
don't be afraid to pick up Party of One, a fuzzy memoir.
Dave's
fuzzy?
book.
It's fuzzy. I don't remember a lot.
Full bush or what?
How was that?
Full bush?
Full. It's
You let it
it's
grow?
not. It's not full bush. It's there though.
Just fuzzy.
Okay, you do some landscaping. Okay. I respect
Yeah. There's some.
Okay.
There's some when you have to when like it starts growing on the house.
Yeah, and then it's
you're
like,
like, why did
you
you
just
put
gotta-
why did you put this on here?
Yeah.
What do they call that stuff? The green shit on the side of old houses.
Ivy?
Moss? Or
Ivy, thank
What,
you.
what are you
The
talking
women.
about?
Yeah, that's a great. Yeah, the women knew it. It's a great way to get rodents living
Ivy?
in your ivy.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Crawl right up.
house is a big bush filled with mice.
Sick.
But your book is not.
No,
Yes, none of those. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, my book is
a little
simply about a terrible alcoholic and drug addict named me.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore.
Like a cautionary tale.
It is. There's hope.
Yeah. It's got a happy ending.
I mean,
Wait for
the
book
book
two.
does.
So, is it a series?
The way this might end up, I don't know. But the book itself, in the time period that it takes place, yes, it has a sad. It kind of doesn't as well.
You should make a movie out of that.
I could.
You should do that.
I'll do it. Call Party One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call Party.
Starring quarter black Garrett.
You'll play me as a teenager.
Yeah.
No one will know.
Perfect. Yeah. They can't tell. It's movie magic.
And everybody else, what do you got?
Follow me on all the social medias and on YouTube. Quarter Black Garrett.
Oh, do we have to talk the Blaze for a moment?
We do.
Oh, the Blaze. You know what? You're not going to get a conversation on NBC or CBS or these other places like you just heard here tonight.
Nope.
You are not going to get it. And
Nope.
we are able to provide that for you. Do you know how?
How?
Blaze subscribers.
You.
Do you want to be a Blaze subscriber? The answer is yes, unless you're smart enough to already be one.
Yeah.
I know I'm already one.
Yeah.
And it's $8 a month because I got the best deal ever. But you know what? Now that deal is going to be extended to you. $8 a month, you can get a bunch of shows. All you have to do is go to blazetv.com/normalworld and use the code NORMAL. And that way you will save the $20 with your promo code that will knock that mofo down to $8 a month,
Yeah.
which is less than the price of a cup of coffee for a starving child.
Yes. And we're starving children.
Please.
right.
Please.
Please.
We will send for every donation. We'll send a thank you on the
A
air.
picture
There
of
you go.
of
we'll
Dave.
say-
Yeah.
A private photo to your inbox.
We will send.
It won't be under our names. It'll be under an anonymous
A
name.
gold certificate.
Yes, we will send you gold. We will send you dick pics for
That's what
way
it
too long until you're like, why did I subscribe to this?
And we
Just
say
too
that's
many.
what you bought.
That's how I got on this show, actually. That's what
Was-
happened.
That's how they all
With
do
the
it.
dick
The
pics.
invitation.
You just sent them until I relented, and I was like,
Well-
fine, I'll come on the show.
When you blocked me, it's why I sent Polaroids. And I'm glad that you got them in the mail.
To your house, and it felt like a threat.
I wasn't going to say that, but
It just just a dick pic that says next time it'll be a nail bomb. You're like, all right.
Oh,
Wow.
like, fine.
Yesterday, he
Yeah,
carved a line into my car.
that's right. I did. I
Sure you
keyed
did.
her car with my penis. It's
Which
very
is-
sharp. I had a botched circumcision. Did it in Portugal. Man was drunk.
it's like a superpower.
It is like a superpower. People think it's bad, but that's why they call me the womb wrecker.
7 was Based on you.
Yes, the movie Seven.
Yes, yeah.
7 Deadly Sins. Mine was lust.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the worst one.
That's the worst one.
Lust?
The worst killing in that movie?
In the movie.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
With the in the
You know.
spot.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
The knife.
That's what she was
That's what I'm
talking
talking
about.
Oh, no. Have you seen Seven?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he's like, he made me do it.
Yeah.
It's awful.
That movie's
pretty bad.
messed up.
Yeah.
Great movie though.
Great movie.
The
Turns
best.
out the killer was also a freak in real life.
Turns out a monster.
Yeah. Weird how that worked out. He was so good.
How did you play that so well? Well, I'm a monster.
He's method.
You know, the cock knife was my idea.
I'm ad-libbing.
Hey, Fincher, I was looking at the script here. You know,
Got a couple of ideas.
this lust thing's okay, but have you thought about a strap-on knife? No, I hadn't. We're going to have to put it in there. Let me just get the old pen to paper.
Put it in there. That's what I'm
Drawing
saying.
it. Yeah, I can bring mine.
Kevin, that's the most demented shit I've ever heard.
What?
It's fetish shit. I like to be
It's my
bound.
tools.
They're
My
tools.
tools.
My tools.
Come on.
Yeah.
Wait, come on.
Come on.
It's not a real knife.
Yeah, it's prop.
It's a rubber knife. I don't want to use a real knife. I mean, it's implied.
Yeah.
Who would show that? Who would show that on film? This is the end of the world. Rock scream. Can you do a rock scream?
No.
I feel like you're holding
Can't do
out.
it.
What's your favorite band?
I just saw Metallica live for the first time on Saturday.
Hell of a good answer. Where were you?
Nashville.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Were they with anybody? Did anybody open up?
Oh, God. You're not going to believe it.
Who?
So they were there Thursday and Saturday.
Yeah.
And Thursday, I thought it was the same setup, both days.
Yeah.
I was wrong. Thursday it was Pantera. And I was like,
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
so excited. I get there Saturday. It's not Pantera.
Who was it?
It's Limp Bizkit.
Oh, God.
We almost saw him.
We heard him.
Yeah. As we were walking to the parking lot.
Yeah, Limp Bizkit.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's what I got for my first Metallica show. So
Oh, Lord. Yeah, that is Kayla's dad.
Yeah.
That's
just Fred Durst with a white beard wearing a pink trucker hat. And I was
Yeah.
like, of course.
Yeah, it was just like, hey, remember in 1999 when I caused all the chaos at Woodstock and people were really hurt?
That was me.
That was me. But at least they got to have fun to shitty music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just recorded my husband's face most
Yeah.
of the time because he was just like,
It's not good. You should
I was
see.
like, honey, what's your reaction to Limp Bizkit opening for Metallica? And he goes, I want them to leave so I can hear Metallica.
Yes. That's a weird pairing.
He lives in Franklin, Tennessee. So I think something happened where they didn't have an opening act and they were like, buddy, can you be here in 20 minutes? And he was like, yeah.
Of course I can.
Yeah, I'm not doing
I'm
anything.
Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, I haven't
What else
done
am I
anything.
doing?
Kidding? I was actually waiting behind the place hoping you'd call. Just in a running truck. Well, we went and saw them with we went and saw a backwards lineup where the headliner opened, Corey Feldman.
Weird.
And that's what we went
No
to see.
way.
Oh,
Yeah.
you bet we
Oh
did.
my God.
It was fantastic. He
I
took his
want
shirt
to
off.
see that. So
We have a video
whenever
of
I'm
it.
having a bad day, like I'm just really downsy dumpsies, it's a bad Michigan winter, and I'm just, I just watch one of his videos, like Ascension Millennium, and it's just
Oh,
pure
yes, that
comedy
song is
gold.
great.
It's just
Oh, it
so
peps you up.
good.
It's
You should sing to it
Masterpiece.
live with an air horn that doesn't work and his shirt off.
yes, and when he's
Do
snappy,
the Michael Jackson moves.
He
Oh,
did.
yeah, he
Oh,
did.
yeah. And his horn didn't work.
Yeah, he was
Nice. Did he cuss out one of the stage hands about it?
He did.
He did.
It was my favorite thing was my favorite thing though was how rude he was. It was drummer. He was introducing everybody, and he's like, "This is whatever." He's a drummer. His mom's here, and then he's.
Somebody said something. He was like, "We don't have time. We don't have time for that."
I don't have time for that. It was the funniest thing.
So good.
It was the most dismissive. His mom's here. This guy plays piano. Let's do this.
Like the Andy Kaufman of pop music acts. I
He
love
really
him
is.
so
So I
much.
still want you to come on the show, Corey, please.
Please.
Yeah,
love you.
he was going to come on the show. Oh. And then he found out it was a political network. Now I don't blame him.
Yeah.
He didn't go on CNN Plus instead.
Yeah.
No one did. But
Watching.
Yeah.
We love you,
I
Corey.
still want you to come on the show.
I still enjoy Corey's films.
I love how he posts in all caps.
Yes.
Social media is my favorite thing.
Yeah. And I like that he's my height. So if we ever meet, we can kiss. So after a recent interview with ER... Oh, yeah, by the way, this is a question for you guys. We will announce the winner of the chat. This is our end of the world question. And whichever one of you has the funniest win or answer, you'll win. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, we'll have to announce on Tuesday.
Thank you. I
down
think
below.
I taste copper. After a recent interview with ER doctors, they listed 3 things a doctor would never do. What do you think one of those 3 things are? QB.
Write a prescription in a legible hand.
Oh, that's not possible.
Yes, they can't.
What you got?
Give your baby so many vaccines at a time that they end up as Matt McClowry.
That's a good point.
Yes, I feel like they would do that.
What do you think?
Insert the Coke bottle big end first into your rectal.
That's true.
Yes.
True.
They're there to remove it.
Yeah.
Why are you putting stuff in there, Doc?
It's a fatal mistake.
Well, I think they just learned from example, like, hey, that's not a good idea.
Yeah, try it the other way next time.
Flip it around. Flip it.
I'm going to say something they would never do is tell you how they're not Jewish.
It always comes up.
Yeah, I mean, they're Jewish.
If they are, they gotta say it. They gotta
That's
tell
why
you.
you're there.
I know Jews.
Or
We'll
Indian.
tell you. That's true as well.
But it's still like, did you convert? Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
See you next Tuesday.